As the season changes and the weather warms up, bears begin to awaken in the spring looking for food. At the North Island Wildlife Recovery Center, Animal Care Supervisor Derek Downes provides some tips on how people can be bear aware so that these majestic animals are able to stay safe in the wild.
Here at the North Island Wildlife, we're the only facility on Vancouver Island that rehabilitates injured and orphaned black bear cubs, and we'll always be here to do that. But part of our mission is as well to educate the public about black bears in general, and that means being bear aware. Little things that we can all do collectively and individually can make a huge impact on keeping our black bears wild. The number one thing that we can do collectively and individually is make sure that our garbage is contained. Garbage is the number one attractant for black bears, especially in the spring when they're coming out of their dens. They need to put on calories. Black bears will lose between 15 and 30% of their body weight, sometimes up to 40% for lactating mothers. So when they come out in the spring, they're really looking to put on calories. Unfortunately, garbage is a viable source of calories for black bears if we leave it exposed. Garbage is a really strong attractant. Making sure that we keep our garbage contained, only put it out the morning for pickup, not the night before. And if you are in a complex that has a bin that's collectively used, making sure that it's secured and bear-proof. Use your compost responsibly. Not adding things like raw meat and eggshells that act as a really strong attractant for black bears can make a huge difference. 60% of the calls for bears that have become a nuisance bear is as a result of garbage. So taking these small steps can really make a huge difference for protecting our black bears. Another really important thing to remember is to take down your bird feeders in the spring. In the springtime, there's plenty of food available to our native bird populations, and bird feeders and bird seed acts as an attractant for rodents, raccoons, and unfortunately black bears. So a little thing like taking those bird feeders down really makes a huge difference. Black bears have a really amazing sense of smell, and so a little bit of food scrap that's left on your barbecue can be enough to attract them into the area. Making sure that your barbecue is cleaned after every use and that your grease trap is kept nice and clean really makes a huge difference. And if possible, storing your barbecues inside is a really easy thing that can make a really large impact. Never feed your pets outside. So feeding cats and dogs only in secure buildings is really a simple thing that we can all do that helps prevent drawing black bears into the area. Making sure that we pick up any fallen fruit that may land on the ground in our yards is a really easy thing as well. Fruit is very high in calories and is thus a really strong attractant for black bears.
While many bears are released back into the wild, some bears need ongoing care.
Good girl. Here at the North Island Wildlife Recovery Center, we get orphaned black bears for a whole host of different reasons. Sometimes we don't know how they've become orphaned. Sometimes they become orphaned because their mothers get into trouble and become nuisance bears. And sometimes they get hit by vehicles, which Ray, our permanent resident black bear, actually came to the center as a rehab candidate. She was presumed to be hit by a vehicle, and unfortunately she suffered neurological damage. So when she was young, she was dealing with seizures, and unfortunately she had to have a lot of hands-on work, and due to the nature of her neurological damage, she was deemed non-releasable. But we felt that we could really give her a good home and she could be a great ambassador for her species. So with Ray and our staff, we're able to on-site help educate the public about the plights of black bears, exactly what we're doing right now. And it's really important to remember that we can all be bear aware and we can all make small changes that make a huge impact for our native black bears, and that's a really beautiful thing.